Hello everyone, Heir of Carthage here, or I guess in this case, Heir of Tombs. That's right, I've got a Tomb Kings campaign fired up here. I wanted to try out a mod. It's the Old World mod by HeirofCarthage, and it basically takes, I think a map essentially the size of Immortal Empires. I could be kind of wrong here, but it's like it's a map all focused on the Old World, but it's much larger. And I think he said it had 666 settlements, which I guess makes Chaos Gods happy. But yes, I wanted to try out the Tomb Kings. Why the Tomb Kings? Well, we just got some big news from Games Workshop that the Tomb Kings are going to be launching with the Old World, and they showed off some units and stuff for the Tomb, or I don't know if it was some units. They specifically showed off like a Bone Dragon, which was a really cool looking unit. That was in their live stream on Twitch. They did some reveals, and so I was like, you know what, let's play some Tomb Kings, because this has me excited. Makes me definitely want to get out and get some Tomb King minis when that releases. So I was like, let's give it a shot. So we'll knock out two birds with one stone here. Number one, we'll get some fresh campaign gameplay, or I guess more than like 3 stones. But we'll also try out a new mod, which was this one, the Old World by HeirofCarthage. And at the same time, we can also talk about patch 4.1.0. So we'll knock out several things at once. In any case, yes, patch 4.1.0 is out. And it does have a lot of changes. I'm not going to cover those in like extreme detail. I would suggest you go read the patch notes. They are rather extensive. I spent some time reading through it this morning. It was a lot to cover. But they've made some big changes, and some of those changes are based around siege battles, which is good, because just being honest, like siege battles are meh at best, and just downright irritating at worst. And I would say the same thing with small settlement battles. So it's good to see them start making changes to that realm, in my mind at least. Now, is this patch going to totally change those battles? I don't think so, based on what I've read, but could it potentially make them better? I do think so, in that regard, and we shall see. So I'm going to go ahead and just line my troops up here and get ready to see what we got a hold of, by the way. Ketep just has the single spell now, which is Dejaf's Incantation, which is going to increase my attack and damage. And then we have a Lich Priest with Shim's Burning Gaze, which, speaking of, Shim's Burning Gaze might be covered in the Homing Missiles 2.0. That was another big upgrade they made. I'll get back to the siege ones here in a moment. Let's talk about homing missiles. They apparently did some work to improve missiles that are supposed to track. They gave a little demonstration of it, but essentially they felt like that it needed improved. And let's see if Shim's Burning Gaze is on here. Yes, it is. So basically the homing missiles should hit better, miss a little less, and I think they were thinking that they weren't quite being accurately represented the way they wanted. That hurts, and I don't appreciate it. So how about we give them a little bit of this in return, shall we? Does this have a range on it, by the way? 250 meters. Okay, alright, I see how it's going to be here. You're just going to shoot your crap at my units. Wow, homing missiles are better. I'm thinking that probably includes Doom Divers, no, Doom Bolt units. Let me go see here. Yeah, Doom Divers. That's why the Doom Divers are absolutely crapping on me right now. It's like, dang, man, those Doom Divers are very accurate at the moment. Yeah, it's because they have been improved. They're new and improved Doom Divers, not just any Doom Divers. Let's go ahead and get kind of a general attack order, moving our units forward. Sling some more magic up here. I'm gonna swing some Nehekara horsemen around. Boy, they are just relentlessly picking. Oh my gosh. Okay, Doom Divers are apparently much improved. Like, there's no question about the improved nature of Doom Divers. Okay, so let's go get rid of said improved Doom Divers. I've had just about all of them I can stand at the moment. Alright, here we go. I've got all my units marching in. Let's use Dejaf's Incantation right there to improve some of the stats. Our Nehekara horsemen are plowing into the enemy. Let's see, our Lich Priest. Just help out here. Alright, we have crushed the greenskins here. It was not injury-free, unfortunately, but a crushing nonetheless. Oh man, some of my Nehekara warriors are actually crumbling in the process. They must have gotten picked at pretty bad, so we'll want to finish up this battle before those guys completely disintegrate. Let's see if we can put some pressure on their leader real quick and end this one. Stop crumbling. Quit crumbling, you cowards. There we go. All right. That should save it. Let's end that battle. So yeah, there you go. Homing Missiles 2.0. They are approved, and they're going to do more damage. This is going to include units, like, including the Luminarch as well. Doom Divers, Hell Cannons, Iceforge Legions, Soul Grinders, Ulrika, Glade Captains. Now, all this is good, because a lot of those units, Waystalkers, they had bows and stuff that would miss a lot and was just really frustrating. So this is probably a good change. And then as far as the abilities, too, like, those missile abilities, probably a good change. Like I said, we'll see. We'll have to kind of just feel that one out. But there you go. Homing Missiles 2.0, one of the big changes. See, we have the option to increase our treasury and campaign movement range. We can replenish, I'm assuming by raising the bones, or we can gain some canopic jars. Canopic jars, of course, are like our specialty resource. I will want some of those, but let's go ahead and take the replenishment for the moment so we can try and stay on the march against our enemies. We actually just moved. Actually, I should have taken the canopic jars because I kind of want to fall back here and do a little more recruiting. Actually, no, we don't, because we don't have... I just can't make up my dang mind here. We don't have the money for any more... Or no, hang on. Tomb Kings. Let me get this straight in my head. You don't pay upkeep. My bad. We don't pay upkeep. I gotta get my head back into the Tomb Kings. Good grief, it's been a while. Yeah, so we don't pay upkeep. We do not pay to recruit units either, do we? No, we don't. Okay, so unit recruitment and upkeep is free, if I remember right. Yes. But I know our economy, I think, in total is rather limited. And we have a cap on the number of units, and that's driven off different things. So it's going to take me a while, man. It's been a long, long while since I've set foot in a Tomb Kings campaign. So you'll be patient with me, and I will try and get myself started. So we have these different dynasties here. When we finish them, we can awaken certain Tomb Kings to join us, which is cool stuff. We'll probably want to kind of see what opens here. Charge bonus or Nehekara warriors. We do have some Nehekara warriors in our opening army. There's a lot of stuff here that's going to buff certain skeleton units, though. The Quickening, Nomad Shock. Kind of wanting to see, like, where's our base skeleton upgrades? Oh man, I forgot about Hyro Titans. Those are a lot of fun. Pride and Service, Ancient Battle. Yeah, I don't see any upgrades. It's just for basic skeletons. So maybe they don't have such things. I was just curious. Let's just go ahead and start here. And we'll work our way through that. So I do have the new units joining us. I don't have any canopic jars for the mortuary cult, nor do we have all the resources yet either. But this is to keep in mind. We need to get out there, get us some resources, because it's going to open up some really good stuff in the canopic jars. At the mortuary cult, we do have a little bit of funds that we could spend on buildings. We could get access to Cinnabar, which would help us. Would help us indeed. That's where we're getting the Tomb Guard from. Interesting. And then let's remind myself what the other buildings are here. There's income, growth, unit capacity for carrion. And that's going to increase unit capacity for carrion quite a bit. Let's actually pull up the whole build tree. Take a moment to remind myself of a few things. Reconstruction slots, local recruitment capacity goes up. So this is going to give us unit capacity for skeleton chariots and archer chariots. This one's going to give us unit capacity for Nehekara warriors, skeleton warriors, okay? So this is going to basically give us infantry. This one's going to give us cavalry. This will give us Ushabti, defenses, corruption guards. This is where we get our carrion from, and then our growth. Okay, all right. Needed a quick refresher course on this. And as far as income goes, we could earn a lot of our income by just winning battles. So I'm not sure if we have to focus on the income. What I may do is focus on the growth first. See if we can like grow our settlements larger for obvious reasons. Let's go ahead and end the turn here. So yeah, let's get back to the siege discussion. So what did they change on siege battles? I may get this wrong. If I do, please correct me. I've only gotten to read through this once, and there was a lot of changes, okay? So in terms of siege battles, if I understand it right, one of the big changes they made was like a final capture point, like a victory point. I don't believe the attacking player can access that victory point anymore without first capturing the key building, which essentially means that victory point back in the back is kind of like a fallback position, and it's intended to be a fallback position so that the player has the defender always has a place to fall back to, but it also is meant to, I think, kind of force a certain type of gameplay and style. Which one of these enables replenishment and access to the global pool? But let's see, campaign movement rate. Okay, it takes 50% of our campaign movement. I'm gonna go ahead and move up. And then let's see what we can do from this stance here. Oh, it takes 2 turns. Yeah, that's too long. Forget that. Let's just go back. I'm going to go ahead and just push forward. I don't see an enemy army that's really ready to stop me. We'll try and take over this first settlement and gain control of this vicinity.
This is bad news.
I think that's a magical forest. It is. So that is a magical forest. We'll take this province, then we'll get rid of that magical forest that's behind us as well, as that could cause some issues. Let's go ahead and end another turn here. But yeah, so they've changed how you get a hold of the victory objective and like the big walled settlements. If I understand it right, they changed wall and wall tower hit points to scale with the upgrades that you do on the campaign map. And again, if I gathered this right, I think it's supposed to make it to where the walls get a lot tougher and harder to destroy as you upgrade them. They also made it to where when you build on locations and that building gets destroyed or used, like that's the only time it can be used, so you can't just like keep rebuilding things. Again, this is if I understand it right, which I think I do. Not 100% sure I do. Wow, that is way more people there. I guess they moved that army down. If I get these guys out on open ground, can I defeat them? Probably. Like, I have a lot of archers. Probably. They're going to outnumber me big time in terms of infantry, but I do have the Necropolis Knights and my wizard and such. I may hold these guys. Let's go ahead and fight this. Let's continue the siege. I think they moved this army down here to try and make things trickier for me. And it is a walled settlement, which was also going to make it trickier because then that means there's more garrison there. Let's go ahead and end another turn. But yeah, so I think you can only build in each build slot one time, which I think that's a good change. Hopefully it means the AI won't continuously be rebuilding stuff. The player can't cheese it that way. It sounds like they reworked maybe some of the range. And then in terms of linked capture points, again, that had to do with the victory point. Like I was just saying, okay, these guys are sallying out against us. Let's fight them here. And by the way, for those asking, this is a very hard campaign settings that I have this on, in case anybody was wondering. I did take away the AI battle stat buffs, though, because I hate that. But I do like the AI making slightly better decisions in battle, and I also like the AI being quite aggressive and having large stacks of armies on the campaign map, so that's why I pick very hard. And I take away those stat modifiers so that essentially I get a lot of the same experience that I used to get when I would play on very hard normal, except I can get the benefit of slightly better AI decision making. This is curious here. I think they attacked me, did they not? I like this terrain over here, though, because that could cause a lot of issues for the advancing greenskin armies. It looks like it could block them up quite a bit. My infantry is not going to be super stout against a real heavy greenskin charge, and my leaders are not like big melee tanks either. So just a couple of things to bear in mind and remember. And my units are dual weapon, and so they are not going to have shields, which means that they would get torn up by missile fire pretty good. But I think if I move up here, the AI will come to face me and then get really pulled through these choke points. that I hopefully can use to my advantage. We do have the Realm of Souls summon ability over here with the Ushabti. We'll talk a little bit more about the patch notes. There was a whole bunch of changes to balancing both in multiplayer and in campaign in terms of like upkeep cost and recruitment cost. That was across a lot of factions. It was not, you know, singling out any one faction. I noticed a fair number of changes to like the Chaos Dwarves, for instance. I know some people felt like they got nerfed too far after that last change. So again, I don't know. We'll see how some of this plays out. I'm not familiar enough at the moment with the state of like multiplayer to be able to tell you whether or not those are going to be, you know, game changing or, you know, just thoroughly a shift of power or anything. Because again, I just don't know the answer to that. I'm going to. It looks like the AI is really forcing their way. Pull some spears over here. Awesome. This should work. Let's get our leaders over here. I'm gonna try and silence this flank over here with my... Alright, my Nehekara warriors are gonna get in clean. And let's start picking at some targets. Back up in here. Ooh, no, there were multiple units over there. Let's pull another one back over here. Okay, I have a special bound ability there. Let's hop back. I need to fall back just a little bit over here. I need to shoot the gap here and go get those archers. I'm gonna try and charge those orc boys. Joss incantation. I need to move that unit over. Let's help out a little bit there. Oof, my Nehekara warriors are getting a little bit overwhelmed here. One of them is kind of crumbling because it kept moving forward after its initial order. I should have put them on defensive stance and it would have prevented that and probably prevented this situation. If I can convince their lord that he no longer deserves to exist, might be able to clean this up a little. The greenskins are in bad shape though. They are in bad shape indeed. I got a lot of damage done with that bound ability on Ketep. And now we really just have to clean up. I'm gonna target their routing lord here. I'm gonna have a unit of Nehekara warriors that is gonna be completely gone due to crumbling, unfortunately. The battle's not gonna end before I can save it. That is why I'm targeting their leader, though, that maybe I'll get lucky. If I can do enough damage to him, it'll throw the battle, and then I can hit in battle really quick and save my troops, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a thing. Because this unit is now down to 832 hit points, dropping quickly. Oh, give me an in-battle screen, please. They're not going to do it. Greenskins come back from routing a lot, so just not going to happen. A little bit of work over there. I feel like the greenskins should have totally crumbled already. They are certainly getting some extreme benefit of the doubt at the moment in terms of that power bar. Probably aided by the fact that their leader just came back from routing. I will end his miserable greenskin life. Yeah, we are definitely not going to be able to save that unit. Maybe it gives me some of it back, though, from the crumbling. I don't remember exactly how the mechanics work. These crumbling factions. It's been a hot minute since I had to deal with it. Yeah, here comes all their regrouped units. It's round 2 with the greenskins. I don't really want my Lich Priest in combat with a Night Gaba War Boss. Alright, I do have my Sandstorm ability back, which should pretty much finish this battle. I feel like the battle should have been over already, but that power bar keeps swinging around and giving the greenskins, like I said, the much needed benefit of the doubt here. That actually really ended up hurting my own units a fair bit, but I think had the intended result of dumpstering Realm of Souls. Now, how come I couldn't use it? Grades over time. I guess I have to get more. Realm of Souls is full. Maybe you can't use it after the battle? I don't know. Strange. Anyway, so there we go. A victory for us. And it was against pretty overwhelming odds in terms of enemies. Whether or not it's an appropriate victory, I'm not 100% sure, because a lot of the greenskins may have survived that. And thus be able to go back in and help protect the garrison. Now, we got away with a lot of our important units here, fortunately, which was 2 out of our 3 Nehekara warriors, all of our cavalry, our leaders. So we got away with, I think, the most important units there. Yeah, so those are some of the big changes in patch 4.0. Like I said, that I hope that summarizes it a little bit. They did redo some of the damage statistics in terms of like what your troops, like the damage that they cause to buildings like towers and barricades, to try and make that, you know, go over a little better. They have certain units that already had like wall breaker ability and stuff like that, which are going to be more effective against buildings. It's gonna kill off another one of my Nehekara warriors if I do this. It's really not the end of the world, I don't think. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, get this over with. I don't really want to fight that siege battle, even though they changed it, which just shows you how jaded I am towards siege battles. They're not that enjoyable and not that impressive to me. We're gonna do some recruiting, as we are apt to do as the Tomb Kings. It's pretty easy for us to stack up a lot of troops quick. We do get an unlimited number of skeleton warriors, which we can use to fill the ranks, but it's really the more elite units that we'll need to continually focus on. So our army will be in good fighting shape by the next turn. And we picked up some skill points with the Grand Hierophant. Hey, another cool thing that they supposedly did was they made it to where you can reset your skill points. I think they kind of took, if I remember this right, so yeah, this is another change. Is it right back up at the top of this? Let me see if I can go find it. Yeah, skill point reset. It says we've added a button to allow you to reset skill points. When clicked, this will wound the character for 3 turns and will clear all the skills. Once the character returns, their skills can be redistributed. Use this to switch up your playstyle on the fly or adapt. I don't know why it was necessary for them to wound the character for 3 turns. It's kind of stupid, to be honest, in my opinion. So they already have the... what do they call it? I've been using the Infinite Respec mod, which just lets you reskill a character when you need to, which to me totally makes sense. Like, you take over characters from the AI, and the AI has done terrible. Like, why should I have to wound them for 3 turns to undo the terrible work the AI has done? So I don't get the whole wounding thing. I think that's them trying to, like, make it look like they aren't just giving the player a boon. But I don't see what it matters. And I don't understand why someone would be so, like, desperate to peacock saying, no, I'm never changing my player skill points because I'm super hardcore. Yeah, I don't get it. I know I'm kind of making fun of folks that, but I don't get it. Not my favorite thing, but it is what it is. If you like it, then fantastic. It is set up the way that you want now. So, in any case, that's it. I mean, there's not really a whole lot else for me to say about that, but that was another change that they mentioned there. So that I think kind of covers the biggest changes in the patch. Like I said, there's a lot of balancing changes. There's a lot of graphical fixes. I don't have time to cover those in detail. Not even all of them impacted me over, the course of this. So, I think it kind of just depends on what you were looking for. Now, sentiment. Let's get into some sentiment here, because that's important as well. CA making this big patch fairly soon after widening their, I would say, ongoing PR debacle. I know for a lot of us it feels like this PR debacle started recently with CA, but it's honestly been building and kind of ongoing for a good while. I think that it just kind of hit a head here with Pharaoh and the last DLC and the price increases in Warhammer 3. So this patch is not going to fix that, right? It's not going to suddenly make everybody happy. However, I will say this. If you do ever want to make people happy again, then I believe that this is a good step in the right direction in terms of being able to... You need to land big patches like this more often for a while. So 2 good things here, in my opinion. 2 good things. 1, this patch was not timed with the DLC. There's a lot of people who have the impression from the way that CA does things that basically we have to pay for the patches because they time them with the DLC. I get why they time them with the DLC. It's a good time to make major updates to the game because you're bringing in other content. You can kind of plan it and bring it all in at once. However, for a lot of people, it's too far apart, and it makes it feel like you're paying for the upgrade. That's not a good look, and CA can't afford bad looks right now. They just can't. So I feel like that's something that it's good to see this patch come in between content. So this was not timed with the DLC, and it wasn't just a small change. There was a lot of changes, some of which were rather noticeable, right? So I think that it was good to see this change come, and to see it come at the time it did, and to the extent that it did. So again, all of these things I believe are good to see. Not going to leave things fixed. It's not going to leave everybody saying, oh sweet, this mess is over. But if they want the mess to ever be over, delivering patches like this in a timely manner and consistently are going to be hugely important. You know, you're going to have to buy back that trust from your customer and your fan base, and in order to do that, one good way to do it would be to bring these patches around more often and to have them be impactful. And so like right here, for instance, making changes to siege battles, in my opinion, will it have a big impact? I don't know. That's going to remain to be seen by the fan base. But as far as targeting, I believe it is a good thing to target because I know a lot of people are very underwhelmed by siege and settlement battles. And then it also had like kind of your standard balancing and bug fixes. So it wasn't just bug fixes and balancing. It was them attempting to make the game a little better. And I want to see more of this. So that's what I'll go ahead and say at this point. Like, obviously it's not fixed anything. It hasn't ended the whole situation. But I do believe if they continue to do this, it will help them. It will help them a lot in terms of, let's see, we could get a Necrotect. Or we could get a Lich Priest. We already have a Lich Priest, or we could get a Tomb Prince. Necrotechs are super helpful once we get the buildings where we end up with constructs, but that's a little ways off. And a Tomb Prince would be pretty nice in terms of, like, I have 2 casters in my army at the moment, and neither one is very good at melee, so it might be nice to have a little bit of melee capability in our army. Now, Vicious Gobspit is kind of working his way towards our land. We've got vampires out to our east at Deadgate. We have Wurzag to our west here. And we still got the Magic Forest, which is very inhospitable to us. But we might be able to tame, ultimately. We'll see. I think I'm going to go ahead and move my army back this direction a little to kind of get in the path of old Vicious Gobspit. I'm, in fact, going to instruct him to leave. And then I'm going to take a look at other buildings here. This skeleton chariot building might be good to put here. The chariots are going to be good against infantry. The greenskins do have a lot of infantry. And it would give us more specialty units and, you know, not require us to just kind of solely rely on all these skeleton units. But speaking of skeleton units, I mean, we're certainly going to make use of them in the absence of anything else, and just because we can. We've got 70 canopic jars. We don't have really any resources yet, though, so I don't know in terms of, like, is there really anything that we can craft at the moment? I don't think so, because we need to expand our access to different trade goods. Again, Cinnabar will be there.
I fear your Lich Priests have done you a great disservice.
We're on decent footing here with Teclis. If I pay him just a little bit of money, we could open up a trade agreement. He doesn't really have access to anything yet, but I mean, this wouldn't be a bad idea to like try and make a friend in the vicinity. So let's go ahead and propose that offer. At least I don't think it's a bad idea. Maybe it ends up being a bad idea. Maybe Teclis comes in with a knife and just like literally stabs us in the back. Starts laughing in High Elf. I don't know. We will see. But I think it will hopefully be an appropriate move. Did I leave at least, yeah, I left one slot open there, so we'll bring our Tomb Prince over, and then our next move will need to be against the Sharpthorn Forest. And we should take out that forest and try and take possession of it. We'll probably have to turn the taxes off, but I mean, it probably wouldn't really be making us that much money anyway, but if that's an availability to the Tomb Kings. I don't know if Tomb King... I mean, they are kings. Surely they levy taxes, but if they don't, we'll see. But if they do, we want to turn those off. We'll see if we can keep the public order in check there long enough to kind of build it up. Vicious Gobspit did not take my advice to leave. I could declare war on him and kill him. That would make me a little bit of money. He is in a very vulnerable position. That is a whole lot of Savage Orcs. Like, a lot of Savage Orcs. And if I hit him where he's at, unless he flees away, I would also get some garrison units. If I attack him here, though, I won't have the movement points because I brought that Tomb Prince into my army. He could get away from me here and then cause problems. This may end up being a bad decision. Let's see if we can take out old Gobspit here. Nope, he did not run, so we will get to face him here, and then I can use this settlement garrison to kind of body block and try and save us a little bit of damage to our units. But yeah, anyway, I would love for you all to tell me, if you are watching, what do you think of the patch changes? What do you think of it coming out in between content? And then, you know, if you want to comment further, what's it going to take for you to kind of clear up this mess that C8's in? Like, what does it for you? At what point do you get back on and say, hey, I feel good about what Creative Assembly is doing for Total War, and I feel optimistic about the future? If you're asking me, Air, what would that mean for you? I honestly don't know yet. I still got to think about it. I feel not very optimistic about Total War at the moment. I want to feel more optimistic about Total War, but I don't. And so what would it take for me? I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm going to have to see, you know, kind of what unfolds a little over time. But I do know that it would need to include things like patches in between DLC, significant patches in between DLC, but not just patches like we saw, which we did get. We got the patch. We're going to need to see changes to the game in those patches, not just bug fixes, not just unit balancing. Those are expected. We expect those to come out. We need to see things like, hey, we noticed that this was not really benefiting gameplay, and we changed it. We noticed that this was, you know, that's the kind of stuff I want to see from CA, which is like ever improving the game itself, not just leaving it in the same state. And to me, when you support a game well, long term like that, that's another way that you ensure that ultimately your fans and all the people who purchase the game will want to keep coming back, and they will trust you because you're doing the right thing in terms of releasing a product, then supporting that product and ever improving the product, which shows that you care about your product and you care about your customers enough to take the time to improve that product. So it will take a lot, and I can't just lay out all the specifics, but hopefully that gives you all an idea in my mind of what I'm thinking, which is just a lot of continued, dedicated, and support that makes sense and makes a difference. There we go. All right, I'm gonna get my Necropolis Knights. They do have Savage Orc riders, War Boys. To keep an eye out for those. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and move up my troops. I got it in fast forward here. Got our Bone Boys moving up. Yeah, I'm excited to see the Tomb Kings in the old world. I really like their colors and scheme. It's a lot of bone, so I would think at least the bone part would be relatively easy to paint, and I would like to try and paint some of their stuff. The shields and stuff, obviously, is where it gets a little more ornate, and then, of course, on the leaders, you're going to have some armor and trinkets and stuff that you would, you know, differentiate them, obviously, as leaders from, like, your standard fare, but I could see, you know, potentially with, like, contrast paints and stuff, you might be able to paint, you know, a pretty good, you know, portion of a Tomb King army relatively quickly by using some contrast and dry brushing, which means that it could end up being a lot of fun to work with. So, you know, I'm curious to kind of see how that turns out in terms of the Tomb Kings coming back. I know they've been around, and some of you may have used them back in the day and may have some thoughts on it already that you can share with me. But as someone who has never gotten to be a part of Warhammer Fantasy on tabletop, I very much look forward to the potential of getting to be a part of it on tabletop. So I was very excited about their announcements. Okay, I'm gonna swing out wide here with this horseman. My archers are gonna just kind of be firing at will. I'm gonna absorb the charges of these savage orcs with my front line, and then I'm gonna reinforce with second lines. Oh, that's not what I want. I'm actually gonna slow it down for just a second. There's a whole heck of a lot going on right now. The savage orcs are gonna absolutely slaughter us on the charge. Like, it is gonna be grotesque how badly they beat us on the charge. So I'm gonna have to pile in a lot of bodies in order to hopefully make a difference here. And then in the meantime, we need our Necro Knights to get over here. I'm gonna actually net that unit, and then I'm gonna swing around with these horsemen. There we go. And then let's get our Tomb Prince involved in some fighting. The Joff's incantation here. Power up some of our skeletons. And we'll get a little bit of rear charge goodness going here. You know, just some classic Total War tactics. See what we can accomplish. Put some Foz protection over here. And then I might take a few of these bows and point out towards the flank. I'm actually, hold on, I'm going to pause it real quick. I'm going to take all my infantry. I'm going to actually put them into a defensive stance so that they don't go chasing after a unit once they rout the one in front of them, which was happening in the last battle. I should have done that from the outset, but I did not. Alright, that charge of the Nehekara horsemen was rather timely and I think rather effective. I'm going to reinforce with some of my Nehekara warriors there. There is a huge number of greenskins for us to overcome. It is not a small number. It is a rather large number. I do have a summon I'm going to use over here to kind of clog up this flank where the enemy is pushing me, and pushing me rather effectively. So with the Shabti summon right in the middle of them, with the horsemen and the Shabti, and I can swing in the Lich Priest here, and I can do some Foz protection to help sturdy those Shabti. Then we're going to do another rear charge over here. And this is going to end up being an effective takedown of a large number of savage orcs. Joff's incantation there. We're having a little bit of an issue with our Nehekara horsemen over here. They're getting kind of thrashed. I may try and get them out of that fight, but our Ushabti and our Necropolis Knights, on the other hand, are working some real magic there. Our Tomb Prince won that fight. We are being outflanked. I'm gonna move to intercept that with my spearmen. Let's move to intercept here. Savage orcs are going to be pretty well suited to fighting against Tomb Kings for the most part, because most of the Tomb King's army is quite low armor. That is Sabti's summon is very helpful for me. Alright, we're about to finish this. The main reason I believe this fight is not over is because their leader is still functionally on the battlefield, and that needs to change. Their cavalry is running away from me and trying to crash into my archers. That makes sense. That's an appropriate target for them. However, I don't really appreciate the pull-through from the AI. That's a little bit annoying. But I wouldn't say that surprises me in the least, that the AI is, doing all that pull-through. I forgot about my special Sandstorm ability. I might use that out there to do a little damage. Try and keep it away from my own units, but hopefully do a little damage to their units. There we go. That is going to force the rout. And we should be able to run down their lord. I can't really get all of their units, but we can run some of them down with my Necro Knights and my horsemen. But we definitely want to get their lord killed. Let's take my bows, make sure they're not going to be shooting my own guys. I'm going to kind of reposition a little here. Turn off fire at will. I do have some units crumbling, but some of them are probably garrison units, so I'm not super worried about them crumbling. I'm actually going to just take these Nehekara horsemen. If I actually get my archers together, I'll let I can get my archers together, I might be able to just pummel their lord with missile fire quickly. Katep is on him and doing a decent bit of damage. That greenskin lord is moving extremely slow right now, which is fine with me. 90 kills here. That Savage Orc has 33 left. That one has 45 left. Let's just kind of keep throwing these Nehekara horsemen right into the middle of these routing units and see how many of them we can clean up. The Savage Orcs have a physical resistance as well, which I think should be giving them pretty good support. I'm going to actually move the Tep off the top of him for a minute so that my archers can target him more effectively. Oh yeah, there we go. I'll keep following in case I need to make a follow-up attack here. But I think he's going to be gone, so that'll get rid of Vicious. He's no longer feeling quite so vicious. He's just gobspit at this point. And we are now starting to drop entities out of that one. And then go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. Like I said, I'm just doing as much cleanup. This should help my units with some experience gain. Should mean less entities that I would have to clean up from this army after this fight. We had 66 kills there, but our Nehekara horsemen are going to be pretty effective against low armor units, against skirmishers, artillery, all that kind of stuff. So they are definitely a very nice tool to have early in this campaign. There are certainly Tomb King tools that are stronger and more dangerous, but the Nehekara horsemen I think will be quite nice early on here. Let's go ahead and keep killing a few more entities. We're up to 90-something kills there. There we go, got that unit up over 100. All right, let's end the battle. And let's see if we can get a hold of that magical forest before I go ahead and end this video. And I'll probably, like, I don't know if I'm going to do like a full, like, map wipe or, you know, like full campaign victory thing, but I'm gonna play this Tomb King campaign for a little while if that's all right with you all, especially if there's a good response to it. So if you do enjoy this, make sure to leave a comment, thumbs up, all that good stuff that helps me understand that, hey, Air, I like this content and I would like to see more of it. Or, of course, if you think it's terrible and you'd like to see less of it, you can tell me about that too, and I will take that into consideration. Alright, so Vicious was viciously defeated and can be completely destroyed at this point, which I will do. And I'm going to do as much replenishment off of him as I can. I'll probably start taking some canopic jars. Instead, I do want to do some upgrades to our skeleton archers. So the Sunscorched Bones is to increase the army and defense of my infantry. This one should help my ranged units. The idea here is I want to get some base buffs in place because Tomb King infantry is pretty weak, and all the buffs that I can get to it will help fairly significantly in terms of our ability to manage. Do we have to pay upkeep on our lords, by the way? Or it's probably unlocked. I think the lords, yeah, it gets unlocked. Get our books in Nagash that we have to go after too as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, upkeep is totally different for the Tomb Kings. I just gotta remind myself of that. But yeah, see, fighting those battles is good. That's probably gonna be our best source of income and our most consistent source of income. There we go, we got a skeletal steed. We probably picked up one. Yep, for Katep as well, so that's good news. They can move around the battlefield faster, and we got a skeletal steed for Tomb Prince as well. Let's go ahead and put one into training, and then let's go Indomitable Will. And none of these are available yet because of our levels, so I like Hard to Hit as an upgrade first because defense is just very useful. Let's get to the end of this. It looks like we have a ritual we might be able to perform, so I'll take a look at that here momentarily. We'll see whether it would be something useful. But yeah, this old world map, I'm excited for it. That's a lot of settlements, and it's kind of a cool mod in terms of, you know, the Immortal Empires map, in my opinion, is already extremely fun to play. But if you're like a big fan of all things old world, this one offers like kind of a cool quote-unquote sub-theater, right? Because it is a smaller theater focused on the old world, but it adds a ton of settlements that essentially turns into He Wants Peace treaty. Let's go ahead and accept that for now because we get a bunch of money out of it. It essentially offers us a you know, bigger sandbox in a more specific realm
Many
of the
secrets
Warhammer
lie
world.
in the hidden places of the world. O grand Hierophant.
Alright, looks like we got a
Perhaps
battle
even
for
an
the
end to your
Lich
eternal
staff
exile.
that we can go fight.
You should
then
strike far afield and explore the terra
got our army that
incognita
can
of the new world.
move over here. Yeah, this the Sharpthorn Forest. I'm gonna go ahead and end another turn and grab it. Need to remember to take a look at those rituals as well. But yeah, I think this is a cool idea for a mod. There's a lot of mods that I would like to tinker with more. So I appreciate the suggestions. I had asked that on the end of the Mother Stankia campaign, like, hey, what kind of stuff would you all like me to take a look at? This was one of those suggestions. So whenever I tell you all that I would love to have your suggestions, this is a good example of that. These guys want a non-aggression pact with me? Yeah, I'm fine with that for now. There's probably plenty of people I can fight with, and I don't need a bunch of annoying Skaven stacks coming after me. But I don't really want the Skaven around. They're going to be a huge nuisance. In fact, I think the Skaven are my all-time least favorite faction to fight against on the campaign map because they are just so inherently annoying, which probably means that they're filling their role well, all things considered, because that probably goes pretty good in lore with them. I'm not going to replenish well in this settlement, and its growth is going to be quite poor. We did destroy that faction. Actually, our replenishment's still looking pretty good here, all things considered. Usually whenever I'm playing other factions, the replenishment is absolutely miserable in these unsuitable areas. We already have a building here that's generating income, but that's not really what we need. We're going to want growth here, and then we're also going to use this Worship Petra here to get additional growth, so that hopefully the Sharpthorn Forest, we might be able to overcome the population growth. See, like right now it's only at +8, which is extremely slow. So if we add in these other ones, we can increase the growth here rather substantially. It does not look like, yeah. So we can cease collecting the income there, which will help the control gain more quickly. I know it's still in the positive with me sitting here, but I don't want to sit here long term. That won't really do me any good. We want to keep moving our Tomb Prince here. We can get another point in training. I'd like to gold chevron our units as best we can. Awesome. Well, there you go. Here's our first look at the Old World campaign mod. We got to talk through the patch. We got to talk through kind of the current standings of Total War Warhammer 3 in terms of that, and I hope you all enjoyed this one. I'll film you some more of this and have it ready to come out to you. I'm going to be on holiday this week, but I will have some more of this out there for you, as well as some Rome 2 battles, and I'm going to try and get some more Realms of Ruin out there too, which is another game that I've been having fun with recently. I'd like to continue to cover it at least for a little while. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you all soon.